All right, so if you're looking for motivation, this is definitely the video to watch. What I've done is compile some top interview highlights from my interviews with athletes, coaches, and individuals, including motivational speakers, and put together what they've said on motivation specifically into one short video for you guys to refer to, listen to when you need some extra motivation, and just learn and get some highlights. I'm really excited because this will give you some different perspectives on motivation, and how I'm going to actually format this is I'm going to talk about some points that I enjoyed from each and share a little bit more throughout the process to give you guys some context and background as we go through a few of these top highlights. Let's kick things off getting really hyped up with Justin Sua. He is the mental performance coach for the Tampa Bay Rays in Major League Baseball, and he has this quick message on motivation and doing things when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, a lot of people, they'll only work out when they feel like working out. They'll only make that call to that friend when they feel like it. They'll only read that book when they feel like it. But once you learn to do it when you don't feel like it, you will see unbelievable results. And once you train yourself to do that, it's incredible and valuable in every aspect of your life.
That was short and sweet, and I'm already fired up. Rolling with that same topic and that same perspective on motivation, we're going to go to Lauren Gibbs, who's an Olympic silver medalist for Team USA, as well as a motivational speaker, and how she talks about her approach to tough days.
Well, when things don't go to plan, there's nothing you can do to change it, right? Like, if they've already not, if the proverbial shit has hit the proverbial fan, you can't change it. So all you can do is either act or react to it. And I find that acting, instead of like just a knee-jerk reaction, is much more productive. And so I have a 5-minute rule. I can't remember where I got this from. It's probably from one of my sales managers or something like that. Growing up, I sold Cutco knives as an 18 to 22-year-old. But I always say you have 5 minutes to be really pissed off, angry, overly emotional, just what have you. And then after the 5 minutes, you have to start like taking action. And like the anger may not wear off, but like you need to start doing things that are going to move you in the right direction instead of staying stagnant in this feeling of being frustrated. Right. So that's what I would say. And then also I realized really quickly, like when it came to the Olympics, every one of my competitors were going to have tough days. And I felt like the difference between me watching the Olympics from home and standing on an Olympic stand was going to be how I handled my tough days, right? Because I feel like it's human nature. We don't learn a ton from easy days. Our brain just goes, my life's great. I'm awesome. I deserve this. I've worked hard for this. I'm living the life. Let's go. And then the second it like flips, you're like, my life is terrible. I hate this. I hate life. Why did this happen to me? Woe is me. Right? But like how you handle those days and your ability to pivot, grow, and be strategic is where you're going to really see an opportunity to get where you want to be.
Lauren is so well-spoken, and I love that aspect because as an athlete or an individual who's in a competitive field, you know that you're fighting for those little 1% improvements, increments, and often you think it's like this new workout program or this new way of training. But it can come down to just how you treat your tough days. If your competitors are taking those tough days off or they're not handling them well, how do you deal with that stress and that pressure? So I really like what Lauren mentioned about that. Now we're going to roll into some how bad do you want it type talk from Carlin, who is the fastest rugby player on earth. He is an Olympian in the sport of rugby for Team USA. He's a former NFL player, very accomplished, and he's also going for Team USA track and field. So perhaps a dual sport summer Olympian.
A lot of people, when you find out, they're not really made for it because, anybody can have this, I want to do this and do that. But that's fine. There's nothing invested when you say that. There's nothing invested in words. But when it's time to get dirty, then you see if you're really made for it or not. So that's what separates, average from good and good from the great. So it's that mentality and understanding that, but, really owning the process. I'm a process-driven dude. I'm not a results type of guy. Results is going to be how they are regardless, but I live for the process. And for me, I knew that it was going to be difficult, and I knew it was going to be challenging, but I also know I'm going to do everything I can on a day-to-day basis to be, what I want to be. You'll never become what you're not being on a day-to-day basis, and that's what I live for.
I feel like Carlin is such a go-getter. He's like, hit hit it hard, train really hard, and just like go. And I know he trains really smart, and of course he's the fastest rugby player on earth. So of course what he's doing is working. So I love to hear him talk and share those types of tips. Now we're going to get into a quick point from JJ Birden about that mindset of pushing yourself. Now who's JJ? He played in the NFL with the great Joe Montana. He went from being too small to play football, one of the smallest players, not even getting, recruited for football for college, into being a long-time NFL veteran, someone who made it many, many years in the NFL when most players, last maybe 2 years. So we're going to listen to his points about pushing yourself.
We have the ability to push ourselves no matter what. Whether we've been great, whether we've been bad, whether we're told we're too small or too big, we still have this mental coach in our head that's continuing to push us to be better and be better. And that's what I see like guys in LeBron. He's a gifted athlete, but how much work is he putting behind the scenes when nobody's watching? And that was me. I would say you show that discipline where it's that ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it while no one is watching. And that's what the great athletes do. They're working out when nobody's paying attention because that's what it takes.
JJ is someone else who's a well-renowned speaker. He speaks so well, so I hope you enjoyed that. Next, we are moving into Kyle Pease. Now, Kyle is an incredible athlete. He has cerebral palsy and does Ironman triathlons and running races with his brother and advocates for athletes with disabilities getting into sports. He's an incredibly motivational person, mostly because when he's in the races, he is like the mindset, the mind, the mental push for his brother. He's in his brother's ear talking motivation. So he almost has to be a motivational speaker when he's doing those races. So listen in to what he has to say.
The cards that we are dealt are not ideal, but we have to play like a winner every day. Go out there and be the best person that you could be and inspire somebody. Show them your gifts and show them what is possible. And know that there are gonna be times where you don't want to do it and where you wanna stop. And you have to recognize that. But then you really have to have the mindset that you can. And you have come so far. Keep pushing because the challenges make you stronger and the bumps in the road make you better. So just focus on what you can do and focus on, taking one step or one wheel at a time and you'll get there.
So we're going to end this episode off with Justin Sua once again. I really enjoyed his podcast, and it is one of the most watched podcasts of 2020 of the All In podcast. He is such a great speaker, such a great mindset, and this is where he actually talks about motivation versus discipline. I think this is a great way to finish off this episode.
Another thing about motivation also, there comes a point with elite athletes where you focus less on motivation and more on discipline. And it comes down to people don't work out because they're motivated to work out. You work out because you're disciplined to work out. It's not something that you necessarily feel like doing, but you need to get it done because at the end of the day, it's going to get you closer to what you ultimately want. And so I think it comes down to reassessing what your goals are, reassessing what your why is, and then building your day accordingly, building your day to help you get a little bit closer to that every single day.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was definitely a different format that I've been trying to recap and get those short points. I know a lot of the interviews are fairly long, so this is a great summary, and then you can go back and listen to some of those full episodes. I will put in the show notes the guests and which episodes they're on if you have not already watched or listened to the full episodes. And let me know, leave a comment with what you enjoyed most, which guest you enjoyed most from this series, and let's start a dialogue in the comments. I love responding to your comments. And if you don't follow me already or haven't hit like button yet, definitely go do that. Thank you all so much for supporting the interviews and the podcast and all the content that I am creating. I really, really appreciate it. If you have a second, leaving a review or sharing the episode or both helps me out a ton. So thank you if you are able to do that. If not, no worries. I will see you, or you will hear me in your ear next week for next week's episode.